there he is. He's locked and loaded and ready to go. And by the way, thank you, Isais, making a little Bitcoin donation to the show. Remember, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show, and you can always donate a little Bitcoin. Isais, thank you. Always love a little Bitcoin donation to the show. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good? You got any Bitcoin yourself? Not yet?
No. Right when you were about to talk me into the Bitcoin craze, the market crashed.
So it hasn't really, Bitcoin really hasn't moved badly. It's still up like 35% since the beginning of the year. It was at 16.5. It's at 22,000. It's actually still pretty damn good, actually. So, I mean, like if you listen to me and you got Immutable X at 44 cents and it's over $1 still, even on a little bit of a dip, you're still making a lot of money. You know what I mean? If you listen to me with Alethea Artificial Intelligence, I told everybody at it when it was at 0.8 cents. So it wasn't even at 1 penny. It was at 0.8 of a penny. It got to 9 cents. Now it fell to 5-6 cents. But from under a penny to 9, that's more than 9 times your money. You take some out, and it's still at 5 to 6 cents. So, it all depends, Omar. You got to follow the market, even in a little dip. See, that's the thing. People look, a dip. Well, really, if you got in it months ago, you're still making a lot of money overall. But, that's
see, I don't have the luxury of getting in months ago. So I got to be careful. It's like playing double dutch. You got to make sure you time it right.
Jasmine, it's my latest one. 2 years ago, I told people about SHIB. It was at 6. It got all the way to 91. That's 15 times your money. So people got in at 6, 7, 8, and it got to 91. I told them about Alethea in August. It went from under a penny to 9 pennies. Okay? I've talked about Star Atlas. It's a major metaverse game. It's an awesome game. Right now, it's under a penny. It's around a fourth of a penny. Okay? And Jasmine. Jasmine is a Japanese coin. It's considered the Bitcoin of Japan. Japan just started to allow their citizens to buy. This company is led by 2 Sony executives that they started this company. And they've got deals with Sony, with Honda, with Siemens, with like a whole bunch of like major corporations in Japan already.
All right.
Jasmine, I'm just saying, you want to get in early on some of these, right? I'm just saying, just do your own homework and find out. But I give these nuggets out every once in a while. It's up to those of you out there to, follow it up and see if I'm right or wrong. And I've been on a little bit of a roll, so there you go. So that's a little stuff for you. All right, so Omar, you fine now? You everybody's settled in now? Because all I heard for months, because right after the season ended, I reported they're moving on with Tua. This is their guy. But yet all these stories came out that they're talking with this team. They're going to trade here. They're going to trade there. So are you good too now? Are you still think there's any FUD out there, or they're moving forward with Tua?
I've never believed any of that. I do encourage them to go draft a young quarterback early, not second round, but early. But I don't, even the Lamar Jackson stuff, and I get it. Part of his camp is probably trying to drive up a market. There doesn't necessarily seem to be a market right now out there. And it's a little scary considering all the elements going on and the things that are being said and the things that are being reported. But as we all know, this is lying season. It's just, and when free agency officially starts, we'll know what the truth is.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But
I don't think Dolphins are involved at all.
Yeah,
with Lamar.
exactly.
I never anticipated that. Never.
I know you're talking about all the other things they're going to develop. Aaron Rodgers and and Lamar and everything else, and we'll find out what ends
Yeah,
up
I
happening.
definitely think Aaron Rodgers is probably either retirement. I mean, obviously retirement, go play for the Jets, or go play in Green Bay. And I'm not necessarily certain that Green Bay wants him to play for them as his.
Right. Yeah, so you get the same feeling I do, and there was some reports on that yesterday too. That basically the Jets were kind of almost going over there to go talk him out of retirement to play for them.
Actually, no, that's the first time. I think that here's my issue with Aaron Rodgers. This kind of gives me like the Brett Favre feel, which makes me makes me very tremendously uncomfortable, especially when Rodgers saw how it ended with Favre.
That's why I want him to go to the Jets, because I think it's just going to be a train wreck.
Me too, and I think it's gonna force another nasty Jets reset, which will put them like 3 years behind the game. Yeah, the Jets hater.
He'll have a bad year. He'll have a mediocre year. The media will be all over his ass. He'll go,
and he won't want to play anymore. And he'll
But if I'm a 10-day darkness retreat instead.
Yeah. If I'm the Jets, I need a 2-year commitment. I need a full-fledged commitment to be part of an off-season training program. And then we can talk. But,
do you trust him? Can you trust that guy to give you a 2-year commitment? And it's New York, Omar.
Yeah, no, that could go horribly bad.
That he pulls in Green Bay. Yeah. Dude, in Green Bay, he's got Rob Domofsky and like 4 other people around him in every. When he gets to New York, it's going to be like 150 mics in his face.
Yeah, I mean, it is New York. It's the biggest media market in the world. It can probably elevate him in other aspects of his life, but I'm not necessarily sure Aaron Rodgers he's kind of going to go off in that Brett Favre kind of realm where he's just going to disappear from the world. That's the sense that I get. Now, I could be absolutely wrong. And he could go to New York and he could date tons of supermodels and tons of actresses and be living the life that he wants. But the question is, nobody knows what life he wants. So I don't know.
Would you predict that Aaron Rodgers is also going to build a gym with the poor's money? I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Listen, he's unpredictable, which is why I just couldn't, people were like, oh, the Dolphins should go after Aaron Rodgers. For what? So he could hold the franchise hostage every year? No. I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. I've been good where I'm at for a while now. I'm comfortable, and I just don't get, I know the media's obsession with quarterbacks. Quarterbacks drives the league. Quarterbacks drives the draft. Quarterbacks drives the revenue. So I get it. But leave the Dolphins alone. They're happy. They're in a committed relationship. They're good. Stop trying to.
I think it's our prior dysfunction for so many years that it's like, oh no, they're about to screw it up, and plus, what Bruce Beal and Ross just did last offseason. Kind of.
I get it, but they're sitting here telling you we're good. And if they didn't have the number 1 rated passer in the NFL, I could say maybe there's some evidence that they're not good. If he was the number 9 passer in the league. Right. He's the number 1 passer. And we know that if he had played more games, it probably would have been astronomically better. Yeah. But, okay, durability is the issue. Let's give 2023 a chance. If it doesn't work out in 2023, we can revisit it with whatever quarterback that you'd like.
Yeah, because really 22, I mean, not that I needed it, but at least I got it for proof. Those that thought he couldn't play, okay, well, that was answered already, right?
So shut all the performance. If it's not durability, you don't have nothing to say. Exactly. You can't say nothing. No. So shut up. But okay, durability. All right, give it a season. 1. That's all I ask. Just 1. Right. 1 season. 2023, maybe 2 if they go into his 5th-year option, which they'd be an idiot not to do.
I'm leaning to tagging him because he's going.
You mean hold on, franchise? Hold on, you leaning to tag him instead of the 5th-year option?
5th-year option. Yeah, the tag.
Oh, no, that's not a
no,
tag. That's
what I
triggering.
mean. That's what I mean. The 5th-year
Yeah,
option. He's not
but
anywhere from
the way
franchise
you
tag.
said it made me think that
That would be
not
the
5th-year
following.
option and then franchise tag him. I was
No,
like,
that would be the following year. The following year, you decide extension or franchise tag.
Yeah.
This year, I would definitely give him the 5th-year option just because. See, here's the thing: I count on Tua now, right? Because I think he's one of those ultimate team player types. Maybe too much because he thinks he can do everything out on the field and he thinks he can take on tacklers and stupid shit like that. But his warrior mentality,
yeah,
I think he's going to be dead focused on proving people wrong about the concussions.
Absolutely.
And so I think he's going to learn to get rid of the ball. I think he's going to do all the right things because that's who he is.
That's his
will
history.
Do anything he has to do in order to be the best he can be because he's the ultimate pro.
That's his history.
Now, he is a little wired crazy because he'll do things he shouldn't do. You know what I mean?
He's wired as a football player.
Yeah, he's wired as a warrior, football player.
He's a little weird.
But I think, if I'm the team, I'm like, no, man, I'm tagging this sumbitch because knowing him, he didn't really suffer injuries this year.
Not tag him. Don't say that. You're triggering his 5th-year option.
Whatever. I'm giving him the 5th-year option because I'm afraid that he's going to come back and kick ass and have a healthy year.
Absolutely.
And then we give him the big ass contract right there and then. So now this will buy me an extra year, and I got him cheap.
I got it. I'd do it. I'd not only do the 5th-year option, I'd probably go into 2024 thinking tag.
Doggy, if he kicks ass next year.
Yeah, but he's still got to prove to me. He's still got to prove to me. He's still got to prove to me. I can't give you $200 million in guaranteed money if I can't trust that you're going to be healthy enough to play the duration of that contract. And
it's just so crazy. Yeah, but
I'm not,
problem,
bro. Why are you turning your nose up at?
Hold on. So you say you don't give him the $200 million, then he comes back the 5th year, and if he does it again,
he gets his $200 million.
You're giving him 250, 275.
Okay, that's all right. And I still, a lot of things come into play with that decision, and I'm just talking hypotheticals right now. I'm buying myself time to there are legitimate teams. There were at least 6 teams. I know them personally that took him off their board because they didn't believe he'd have a longer than 8-year career. And
I know the injury history is the only thing,
and that is a fair, legitimate concern. I got to get to the point where, just like I don't have any concerns about his arm or talent or performance or accuracy or pocket presence, just like I don't have any concerns about those things, I don't want to have any concerns about durability. You can get your $200 million when I don't worry about durability. I think Lamar's issue, it's funny. I've always not been a Lamar guy. And I'm very transparent about that because I do not like that style of player. I do not like that style of quarterback. I've been that way for over a decade. And part of the reason why I'm not a Lamar guy is because I do not believe he will last playing that style. And then we'll get to a random cutting.
He needs to be more Russell and Mahomes, where you use your legs, but it can't be the main weapon of your game.
I always fear the Randall Cunningham RG3 situation where
Cam Newton.
Yeah. I think Cam can still run. I don't think he doesn't have an arm anymore.
Yeah, no, his accuracy was always shaky, and that's what hurt Cam, that he needed his legs and his body.
He still got his legs in his body. He just don't have the arm. So but
that's his struggle, that he has to use his legs to be an effective quarterback where he couldn't live from the pocket. You have to be able to live from the pocket.
I 1,000% agree with you. But getting back to the point, I think part of Lamar's issue is, and there's a lot of things that factor into Lamar's issue: the pursuit of the guaranteed contract, the representing himself, the
injuries, the last year,
injuries, playing style. Not every coach. Gase was adamant he did not want to coach Lamar Jackson, which is what led to in-house fighting, bickering, blah, blah, blah on draft day.
By the way, that's what I laugh about the Dolphins. So Mike McDaniel's going to all of a sudden change the offense that he loves to get a running quarterback.
I think that offense works with a running quarterback. I think it works with an athletic quarterback. I do believe. I think if you added, not to say that I want this to happen, But if you added a running element from your quarterback, which I do always support and believe
Well, that's different.
it would
That's
add an
different.
incredibly different dynamic, which is why Trey Lance's appeal in with the 49ers in the same offense. So I think that there would be a genuine level of interest, but I think what Mike McDaniel prefers is the traditional pocket quarterback with accuracy and anticipation, which is what Tua is.
Right.
So,
right.
but so there's so many factors with Lamar, but part of the reason I think he's struggling to get that deal that he seeks is because he's not a traditional quarterback and he hasn't stayed healthy for the last 2 years. And okay, how is he going to come back from this knee injury? How am I going to guarantee a guy $200 million when I'm not sure how he's going to come back from a knee injury?
Right.
Now, what will be interesting is to see what Joe Burrow gets, what Herbert gets, what Hurts gets. And if either of those three get fully guaranteed contracts, then you know that the league's frauds. You know that they're frauds. I fully, and for the record, I fully support all three of them. I thought it was a colossal mistake that after Kirk Cousins got a fully guaranteed contract, 5-6 years ago, Kirk Cousins was the first. He was the barrier breaker, a fully guaranteed contract. It was disrespectful that all the other quarterbacks, and I can name them: Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson again, the little tiny guy from Arizona. That fact that none of them got fully guaranteed contracts was a setback for the league. And then for Deshaun Watson to be...
As for Kyler Murray, he doesn't even deserve the contract he
got.
No,
he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He hadn't done anything yet, bro.
No, he doesn't. And he's basically led to it. He was like cancer.
And he doesn't lack weapons or anything of that nature. Okay. And I think Kyler Murray has passing skills, actually. That's what I like about Kyler Murray.
He does have passing skills, but he has the same problem. He has the same problem Lamar has. Too much reliance on athleticism in your legs.
Oh, I disagree with you. I think he has a maturity issue. I think Lamar's a worker. I don't think this kid's a worker. I don't think so. I don't believe so.
That's fair. I don't know him personally. I've never
heard him. I don't think he's enough of a worker. When they put that clause in your contract, bro, come on, man.
That thing was embarrassing.
When you put a weight clause in a contract, it's because the guy's got an eating issue. When you put a behavior clause in the contract because he's been arrested or he's had a past, there's an issue. So when you put that studying clause, that you don't do that for any quarterback. No quarterback's ever had that clause because every quarterback knows that he has to outwork everybody, bro. Mm-hmm. He has to set the example that he is the hardest worker and will do more than anybody else to win the game, because that's the only way you sell yourself to everybody else. It says, oh yeah, no, if that mother effer is selling himself out, I got to do everything I can too to win the game. And I think that's Kyler Murray's issue, actually. Lamar, I don't think has any of that kind of issue. I don't think his character is in any question whatsoever. I only question his accuracy. That's the only thing I've ever questioned with Lamar. I think everything else.
There's a bit of a fear or element of we can't control him, and some people will put it out there that there's some concern about him being the face of franchise, which I think is ludicrous.
Maybe he might have a little bigger head of himself because he doesn't have an agent to check him before he wrecks him. You know what I mean? He doesn't have an agent to say, "Hey, Lamar."
He's got a mom, bro, and his mom ain't no joke.
That's even worse because she's just going to feed that's just an echo chamber.
No,
you need an agent to say, "Hey, Lamar, you've been injured the last 2 years, man. We can't get you this. You're a running quarterback. We got to work through this. I'll work through it with incentives. I'll get you. I'll figure things out." But somebody's like that whole I need a guaranteed deal like Watson. No, dude. Nobody's doing that. It's because Cleveland's stupid.
Listen,
and they did a stupid deal.
What I found very interesting to listening to ESPN today on Stephen A. Smith, and I have a great deal of respect for Stephen A. He's at the height of this industry. He's the highest paid journalist, and he's a true journalist. He said that the camp reached out to him, which I do believe, because part of what they lack is they do not have a media arm because they do not have work with agents. And so they reached out to him and they clarified some things. That was the highest that we've ever received was an offer from Baltimore for $133 million in fully guaranteed money. I do believe them because when you put out those facts and you give it to Stephen A., these are facts.
Right. I got it.
And he's also, and Stephen A. also said they have not talked about a fully guaranteed contract. They have not pushed for a fully guaranteed contract.
So Josina was wrong on that too? Wow.
I don't know. That's the narrative that's being put out there on their behalf. And considering I have dealt with them and see how they've operated with I Am Athlete, I know they're no joke. They are seriously no joke. So, and people have this narrative that Lamar is just a casualty or a passenger in this van. No, that's not true. Lamar is the driving force in the van, and his mother executes the business for him. And Lamar knows what he wants. And I had a private conversation with him going back to the season, and he's like, I don't care what people think. And some of the things he does just to troll people in terms of what they're saying and what they're thinking about him. He's very driven to control his own career and own narrative and own journey. And I support it. I do support it because not a lot of people make that push, but there are consequences and there's sort of there's sort of collateral damage when you do that. Like, would right now having an agent benefit you? Because an agent would get out there, and in Indy, he know exactly what your market is. You weren't in Indy. You weren't in those private rooms. You weren't in those not you, but you weren't in those smoke. Yeah. You weren't having these 4 a.m. backdoor sweet conversations that happen in Indy. You know they happen. I know they happen. The industry knows they happen. Does Lamar and his mom know that they happen? So because you have not had those conversations, you're doing business how the NFL has set up to do business, and you're behind the 8 ball. And you're losing. You're taking L's. And so while you might think you have a bigger market than you do, you don't. You realize now you don't, and it's coming to bite you. And you probably realize now you need a media arm because a lot of the things that are being put out there is the narrative that they want to, or the team wants to put out there, or rival agents want to put out there to discourage people from thinking that they could do this on their own. And literally, you're doing nothing but taking L's. Now, what I found interesting was Mike Tannenbaum gave a very interesting perspective on Get Up this morning, where he said, it's too early. I didn't
know that was possible, but go ahead.
He's very good on TV. Don't lie. Don't admit. You know what? Why he's good on TV? Let me address this because I'm not a Mike Tannehill.
Stuck in reality.
He's made a lot of mistakes with a lot of franchises, and he's learned from it. But he's had those conversations, and he knows how. Come on, Mike Tannenbaum has had conversations with every GM, every executive. And so he knows what those conversations are like. He knows what those he ain't touched that tampering with a 10-foot pole because he knows he don't want to touch it because that wouldn't benefit the NFL. But one thing he did say that I found very interesting is, yes, everybody might be coming forward and saying, we're not interested right now, but free agency hasn't even started. Why would you be sitting here bidding against yourself when free agency hasn't even started? When it does start, all it takes is one team. All it takes is a Carolina or a Washington to put an offer on the table and say, we've said we weren't interested previously, but, that was to cover ourselves and our tracks and not. And he said a lot of this is because you don't want to deal with the blowbacks from your quarterback that you have in-house or your team or your offensive coordinator. Oh, we're going after Lamar? What does that mean? How does that change? What does that impact? Just let the people in the power situation who might have an interest, let them handle it. But also another thing that I've always thought is I thought Baltimore wanted the league to do the negotiating for his contract, and then they just match it and sign it. And right now, what it seems like is Nobody's going to do that contract for the Ravens. And it puts them in a very good position. And just remember the clout that the Ravens have and Ozzie Newsome has in terms of respect league-wide. So
no, it's not Newsome anymore. It's DaCosta now. But yeah, I got you what you're saying.
Whatever, if you say so. If you say so. Was Ozzie Newsome in Indy? Yep. Was he at the Senior Bowl?
No, I know, but it's DaCosta's show now. You know
sure,
what I'm saying?
Sure. If you say so. And the funny thing is, Stephen A. dropped a couple of hints that people in Lamar's camp might not be comfortable with DaCosta and might feel more comfortable if Ozzie stepped to the forefront and started to handle this situation. And we all know Ozzie
drafted him. I mean, Ozzie drafted him, so
we all know Ozzie's still involved with the Ravens and has a heavy-handed influence with the Ravens. He's just not technically running it. He'll be there on the draft day and in the draft room and in part of draft conversations. He's just not technically running it. So I feel like, where was I going with this? I feel like, to Tannenbaum's point, somebody might come in when free agency actually starts. It might be the Jets when Aaron Rodgers decides, hey, I'm going to stay retired. Or it might be Washington when they figure out they can't move up high enough to get the quarterback that they want. But there could be more players involved. Like we got a long way to go.
All right, this is an interesting one, and I've said this about entertainers, singers, athletes, politicians. Once you get to a stature level that you're pretty famous, I've always said that you should hang around with people that have as much to lose as you do, instead of hanging around with people who have nothing to lose. And you have to be careful. Ex-Cowboy Michael Irvin, that incident that he had at the Marriott and all that crap, and Marriott's trying to back out of this shit. They don't want to release the video, all that. I think this to me, this smells badly. Like Michael's getting jobbed here. Okay. Because if the employee is right and all that, the hotel is gladly going to release the video because, they want to win the case and prove that their employees are. The fact that they've been hiding this video and been, it tells me there's some. And Michael has been adamant about, show this video. You'll see that I did nothing. Like he's acting like a real innocent person acts. So, but whatever. That aside, whatever you think is happening there, as shady as I think Marriott in this whole situation is, not Michael, them. But listen to this. Michael Irvin, this is Michael Gelkin, who's on that beat now. He says Michael Irvin was visibly emotional when witness Brian Davis delivered his account of what transpired February 5th between Irvin and a woman at a hotel lobby. Irvin said the incident has forced him to question how to address people who approach him in public. And you know what? Do you blame him? No. And I don't blame famous people. And so I mention this because sometimes some of you out there might be a little turned off by somebody that doesn't want to be too sociable or doesn't want to sign an autograph or doesn't want to take a picture or whatever, all those kind of things. I don't know if you've seen Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, when he takes a picture, he doesn't put his arm around people. He puts his arms down in the middle so people can see that he's taking the picture next to the person, and his arms are nowhere near the person where they can't be construed in any kind of position. It's those kind of things. It's a shame, but I think famous people have to kind of live by what I'm saying, that unfortunately you need to hang around people that actually
have something to lose. Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't pick your friends, and you also have to. So where is this conversation going? Is this about Lamar or Michael Irvin?
It's more about famous people. Do you agree with this? That now Michael getting he feels like he's getting burned by this. Obviously,
yeah.
He was being nice to somebody that said hi to him or something, and now this is how he's rewarded, where he almost loses his job. He goes through an embarrassment in Super Bowl week. I don't blame him if he's now going to be apprehensible about anybody that's approaching him.
Come on, this is like his third incident, though. Not to say that it's real or factual, or I mean,
okay,
yes.
I just want to be fair.
you should be, it's I can't say how people should act because I'm not of that level of fame. I do get recognized. If I go to a Heat game, I'm being recognized by 3-4 people.
Yeah.
And I can't go to Home Depot now without being recognized by people. Some days I'd be looking bummy as hell. Grocery store, same thing. I can't even imagine. That's my life, and I'm
Right.
Omar Kelly. I can't even imagine what Michael Irvin's life would be like. And and talking to people about things that the lengths that people will go to exploit professional athletes and
Exactly.
exploit
Or people,
celebrities,
celebrities,
yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sickening. So yeah, you should be a little bit apprehensive and cautious, and I don't know. Now I really got to think about it in terms of like putting my arm around women that if I take a picture with a woman, usually it's guys, so I don't really have to worry about it, but they can accuse me of some sexual act as well. So now you got my head spinning over here, Big O. Like, do I have to put my hands to the front too?
I mean,
like,
you and I aren't at that level. I get approached by people all the time, so I'm like you. It happens to me too. It's happened to me more now because of the YouTube channel, actually.
yeah, people are seeing. Yeah,
When I was in regular radio, you don't really see my face nearly as much.
Correct.
But with this platform now that my face is every day, I get noticed all the damn time. But I don't think for us is a problem. But those people that are at another level,
yeah, man. I mean,
the people, Omar, the people that actually make real money.
You could take money from me. Yeah, go ahead, no problem. Fine, I ain't got shit. But yeah, yes, you're right. And to the point where, like, goodness gracious, like, I don't even want to put people business out there, but like to talk to a friend who was fighting something and it cost him $350,000 to clear his name. I was like, God damn! Like, are you kidding me? Like, but that's what they have to go through. That's reality of their world. So would I be more cautious? Yes, absolutely.
All right, give me one free agent that the Dolphins must go after. Is there one that you've been thinking of that, if they go after a free agent, this is one guy that they need right now? Who is it?
I'm not ready to say that because I have not seen what acorns fall off trees in terms of contracts we're not there yet, where guys are being forced out and on the trading block and forced to restructure. I need to know what the entire class of talent that I'm looking at right now. Linebacker is my top priority. It's a very hard position to find. You get them at 70 cents on the dollar, and that's what I would be going after. Now, the question is, what linebackers are out there and available? Minnesota's supposedly cutting Kendricks. I'm interested if that's going to happen.
I want Poyer. I want Poyer.
Safety, hold on, wait. That's not a fair. I don't like that you said that because you are a big supporter of the guy he'd be replacing.
I love Brandon Jones, but because of Fangio's system, you need elite cover guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get it.
You don't think you can develop an elite cover guy with Ronaldo Hill?
And he's not going to play a traditional strong safety position.
What's more important? What's more important in this scheme? A linebacker or the safety?
You didn't let me. I want Poyer and Wagner. You know what I mean? But Poyer is the one that's going to cost you big money because it's a long-term contract. Although I get the feeling because he's a South Florida guy that I think he'll get a little bit of a discount here.
Oh yeah, and from state taxes,
No, and everybody says he like really wants to play here badly.
Oh yeah, I see him every year. I see him every offseason at Bomberitos. Like he's a Miami guy.
Apparently he really wants to play here. And then Wagner really is a Chris
or he wants to drive up his market and his asking price. And
I don't think. Well, Buffalo has issues anyways because they've got now Allen's contract explodes, and so now they have to sign several guys, so they can't keep. Buffalo has that issue.
You need to drive up your market. How do you drive up your market, Big O? You know the game. You need to drive up your. You create a bidder.
You're 1,000% right. But I think in this case, from everything I'm hearing, this kid really, really wants.
He does. But
It's
he
not so
also
much.
needs a bidder. And
Yeah,
this is the one thing, and you know this. Every agent wants the Dolphins in the conversation. Every agent wants the original team to think the Dolphins are bidding on my client
yeah,
because that
yeah,
raises the price.
yeah, yeah,
It's not just you need another team to be in the bidding. No, you want the Dolphins to be in the bidding
yeah,
because teams know they bid big. They
yeah.
bid big.
So,
And you
so
got
listen,
if the
listen
Dolphins
to
are in the
this.
conversation, you got to come with it.
Right,
So
right. No, you're
does
right. You're
Brian
right.
Hoyer need the Bills to think and conclude that hey, he's one of their top targets? Yes.
I think
Or could
Jordan
he
Poyer
logistic?
is. I would go with Jordan Poyer because that's a long term deal that you got to play with, and then I would go Bobby Wagner, and Bobby Wagner is a perfect Chris Greer special, a 2-year deal, because that's and you'll probably give him a 3 for that third year to kind of play with the money, but it's really probably he's going to be here for a year or two, probably 2, and that's before you have to pay Tua.
I'm going with Levante David
You
over
know, if
Bobby
everything
Wagner.
goes well, Wagner's deal in 2 years expires, and that's when Tua's deal will then kick in. So it won't be that bad. So I'd love to get my middle linebacker for the next 2 years in Wagner, and I'd love to get Poyer as my other free safety next to the stud. And
I'm
so
going with
now,
Levante David before I go with
you've
Bobby
got
Wagner.
you've got 2 safeties, you know, that can cover and can do all kinds of stuff. You know, shit like that. I like that.
I'm going with Levante David before I go with Bobby Wagner for multiple reasons.
Okay,
Uh,
tell me why.
One, this is hometown for him. He's been in conversations with them multiple times and wants to play here, wants to stay in the state of Florida. And showing out for your home team and the leadership element. I'm not saying that Bobby Wagner is not a leader, but I like that. And if it goes well, then you potentially can have him here on a respectable deal after the initial deal if he continues to play at a high level. So whereas Bobby Wagner's coming here as a mercenary, and the mercenary feel to me, and Ndamukong Suh and
No,
Lawrence Timmons killed the
but
mercenary.
did you see the year Bobby Wagner had last year with the Rams, bro? He played, bro. He had 6 sacks, had like 150 tackles, like 18 for losses. I think he had like an interception or 2. I mean, he had an elite season again.
For a
I didn't
bad team.
I didn't even realize that his season was that good until I looked up the stats. I mean, he played well, Omar.
He had okay. He had 2 interceptions, 6 sacks, and yes, 140 tackles. That's pretty damn good.
And how many for losses?
TFLs. He had 10 for loss.
Yeah, I mean, dude, how many forced fumbles?
Forced fumbles. He had 5. That's no. I'm sorry. No, he didn't have 5. He didn't have
5?
any. No, he didn't have any
okay.
forced fumbles.
Okay.
He didn't have any forced
Oh
fumbles.
God, he had 5 forced fumbles. I was like,
No,
oh shit.
he had 5 pass deflections. I'm sorry, I read the wrong one.
Okay, well, that's pretty damn good too.
No. Listen. I'm not arguing your point now. I got to look at the film of both of them. I gave you the mercenary thing. I just don't.
He's a pro's pro, bro. He's been a tackling machine since he got into this league. He is Zach Thomas, bro. He is Zach Thomas. He is the guy that gives you all every single game. He was like that in Seattle. And brother, Jesus, I saw that. He was awesome this year with the Rams. I would love him in the middle of the Dolphin defense.
So why are they moving on? Because they signed a 5
Oh no!
year,
Well,
the
Rams are in cap hell. They got to clear out. They got to
hold on. That's more of a.
And by the way, they're also not going to win, so they need to turn over their roster. They have no picks because they've traded picks in order to build this team to win that title. So now they're going to do the reverse.
Listen, my brother, that's not a free agent. Did they put out a report that he's going to be cut? Because he's owed another.
Yeah. He's going to be cut. He's going to be cut.
He's owed another.
They're trying to
$10
trade Ramsey. They're trying to trade Ramsey. They're clearing out that team. Yeah, he's going to be cut. Yeah.
That I find that interesting because that means they will have paid him $20 million for 1 year because he's guaranteed $20 million at signing of the 5-year, $50 million deal.
They're so over the cap that they have to, but they got their title, bro. It doesn't matter. It
No, but he
works.
came on
It
after the
works.
title. This is interesting.
I know, but it worked. And now they have the cap hell that they
Oh,
have to
it's
pay.
only 10 fully guaranteed. So what's the other one? I'm sorry. Received guarantees, 10 million is guaranteed signing. What's 5 million signing bonus and no. Where's the other 10? Okay. If Wagner's on the roster for the 5th day of 2023 year, don't say 10, 20 is guaranteed then.
He'll be cut.
Mm,
That's already been reported. He's getting cut. He'll be a
Yeah, that's not. I don't know why you say it's 20 guaranteed because it's not 20 guaranteed. So yeah, they got a little wiggle room.
yeah.
2020.
Well,
I'm sorry.
they're clearing out that whole roster. That's
No,
the
the
problem.
23 salary is guaranteed.
If he's on the roster, probably.
No, it's guaranteed. $7.5 million is guaranteed.
So they're
And
going
then
to take a hit.
and they get to avoid a $3.5 million roster bonus.
Okay,
So
okay,
if he's cut, they do clear $7.5 million. So basically, they're clearing just his salary, but they still got to pay him $20 million unless it's they still got to pay him $10 million unless it's offset language. So maybe it is offset language. This makes no sense to me. That's something, a commodity that you could trade. So
they should release him, and the Dolphins should sign him. So that's all I got to say. That's it. All right, follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch him every week here with our essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange. Should be interesting next week as free agency starts.
And quick question for you.
Yes.
Quick question for you. Yes. What's the amount of guaranteed money you give Lamar? Not Dolphins, but Big O, the GM.
I'm not a Lamar guy, so I wouldn't even sign him in the first place. So I'm not a believer in him as a passer. So
Jalen Hurts, the amount of guaranteed money you give Jalen Hurts or Burrow.
Oh, okay, that's a whole different ball game.
Okay, Hurts, Burrow, Herbert. What's their guaranteed money? What's the new ceiling?
I'd say about 150, 200 over 6 years, 5 years.
That's a lot. That's a 150 with 200 with 150 guaranteed.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those guys are.
That's short of the Russell Wilson deal.
It'll probably be like a $250 million deal with about 150 of it guaranteed.
That's short of the Russell Wilson deal, I believe.
Okay.
So,
but it'll be somewhere in that neighborhood. They're not going to give fully guaranteed deals to guys. They're just not going to do that. And even, you were talking about the Kirk Cousins thing. Those have been like short-lived deals, actually. And
Russell got 161 guaranteed.
Yeah.
With 5 over 242.
Right. Yeah. It's like, so I can see the 250 with 150, and guaranteed. I can see something.
But it's 124 at signing. So you might be right. You know how these deals got some fake money in it.
Yeah.
Even a guarantee.
They're all 3-year deals, basically. So you're 124, you're getting paid about 50 a year for 3 years, and you're out of that money.
That's why the Ravens only offered 133 in fully guaranteed money, because Russell only got 124. Right. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. But if he really wants a fully guaranteed deal, that's gonna be a monster problem for him, bro.
They already put it out there with Stephen A. That's not what they want.
A pocket passer isn't seeking contact. A running quarterback has no choice. Even with him, that it's like he's a hard running quarterback to catch because he has that Warwick Dunn quality to him, that Barry Sanders quality, that you don't really get a clean shot on him, and still he is taking punishment. It's tough, dude. It's tough. Yeah. Like Josh Allen, that some bitch ain't avoiding any hits. Like he's taking. I know he delivers some, but he takes the brunt of a lot of hits, dude, which is incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid. That was
Josh
going to end.
Allen got 150. Let me see
Yeah.
what the real. Nope, guaranteed at signing 100 million.
Right. Well, that was a couple years ago. So it'll get to like 150 for those guys. I bet. Somewhere in that area.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm dying to know. I
And
got to see it.
I think it'll be a 250, not 200. 250 really.
Yeah, he's
With
got Josh Allen got 258, so over 6
yeah.
years.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. All right, doggy. We will catch up next week. I appreciate you as always, my friend. Thank you.
All right, big O.
You got it. There you go. Omar Kelly and the Miami Dolphins. Well, the essential moving experts, Miami Dolphins exchange.